Hey Group 2, it's your classmate Sierra. I just finished watching your group speech and overall I thought it went really well. I have some notes written down for things that I thought you could work on and also things that you did really well. And I wrote notes out in the form of a group, so things that you all did really well that you all could work on or also individually. So starting off first, your group speech topic, it was a really good topic because I thought it was super relatable so everybody can understand having to do an interview at some point in their life. And also you met the time requirements between 15 and 20 minutes, and then your transitions went really smoothly. So from the ending of one portion of someone's speech to the beginning of the next person, they all flowed really well. And then lastly, your framing and your lighting was really good. So everybody's whole body frame was in the shot and I could see them really well because the lighting was good for everybody. Something that I have for you to work on was your PowerPoint. I remember that the instructor said if everybody's theme was the same for the PowerPoint, then the whole PowerPoint presentation would have came together really nicely. And I think some of yours were a little bit different in theme, so it kind of looked like different parts of a speech. And then your demonstration, I couldn't notice which part was your demonstration, so you might have had a demonstration, but it wasn't like forthcoming enough for me to be like, oh, this is where their demonstration is. And then lastly, the very first woman who spoke, Leona, which I guess is your name, but Roy was the first person to introduce your name in the speech, and I think he was one of the last people to talk. So if when you first came on the screen, we're like, oh, hi, and like introduce yourself a little bit so that we knew who you were before you started speaking, that would have helped me out a little bit. But so first speaker, Leona, for you, I said, so for your introduction, you wrapped up really nicely what everyone will be talking about. So you introduced each topic, like this person's going to talk about this, and this person's going to talk about this, and I thought that was really good. And then you also very boldly stated your goal of your speech so that all the audience members, me included, were like, we understood what the goal of your speech was. And then also, you were really enthusiastic and you changed your voice tones and your pitches so that it wasn't just like monotone or just, it didn't get boring or anything like that. And the one thing I had for you was the thing about introducing yourself. And then next, Karina, you had really good points for preparing for an interview. So what you should wear and what you should practice, if you should look up online things that you can say and be prepared for questions and everything. So yours had really good information in it. But the one thing I had for you to work on was that it was really hard to hear you. I'm not sure if it was like your computer and how things were set up or if your voice was just a little more quiet, but that was the one thing that I wrote down for you to work on. Ashley, I really appreciated your own appearance because your one topic was to talk about your appearance for the interview. So you also looked really professional, which is important if you're talking about looking professional for an interview. And you also did the same thing as Leona, is that you had really good vocals and change of pitch. I could tell that how your personality was, and that you were speaking like you normally do in your everyday life. And the one thing I had for you was your prop, which you used, which was your hair curler. And I just thought that the props that you use should probably add more to your speech instead of just being like, oh, here's my prop. So choose your props very wisely. And then lastly, Roy, you seemed super genuine. You're the one who I think smiled the most and you had a lot of emotion. So the one thing that I loved about during your portion of the speech was that I could see all of your emotion and your genuinity. And then the one thing I had for you to work on was your use of notes, because you had a portion that was like probably the most information in your portion, and you were talking about how you can act in an interview or the STAR acronym that you were using. And so since you had so much information, I thought that you were using your notes a little bit to help you along, and it was noticeable that you were doing that. But so overall, you all did really well, and thank you for listening. I hope this helps you in your future speeches.